And it's so fun using their opponent's cards against them. So we do a little math here. I'm like, wait, that's lethal. You are dead, my friend. Doesn't matter how they block here. They dead. It's a good game for you. How's it going, y'all? Titans Fan 920. Today we're back with some more Pioneer action. This time we're taking in Sultai Reclamation into a league, and we'll see how it does against some more stiff competition. If anyone hasn't seen this deck yet, I have a video on it in the previous video. But basically what we're trying to do here is get Wilderness Reclamation into play as early as possible. You can do this on turn 3 of the Growth Spiral, or turn 4, just do it regularly. Beginning of each end step, untap all lands you control. Most of the time you see this card, it's been Nexus of Fate or something kind of like that, that's just kind of degenerate in my opinion. But we're doing some fun things with this. So you put Wilderness Reclamation into play. Pretty much everything in the deck is flash or instant speed except for the Scarab God. We'll get to that later. So you can play Wilderness Reclamation and then still hold up Nightpack Ambusher, still hold up a counterspell at Frilled Mystic or Sinister Sabotage, and do some cool things like that. One really neat thing is you can stack these triggers if you have an Ambusher, where if you didn't cast a spell that turn, you can still make your Wolf, then untap your lands and do something on that turn. So I can make a Wolf token, maybe Petty Theft something with Brazen Borrower, cast a Brazen Borrower, and then still be able to hold up a Frilled Mystic or Ambusher. So really neat there. The main reason we play this, though, is the Scarab God. Probably my favorite creature in Pioneer between this and Glorybringer. Not instant speed here, but with the Scarab God, what you're allowed to do is play this, untap your lands, and then you get to hold up that 4 mana for his zombie claws and start exiling creatures from graveyard and making those 4/4 zombies. So you get to do some really cool things here. We also play one of Gearhulk. Torrential Gearhulk's pretty nice to flash back a spell, especially if it's a dig through time. Flashing back a dig works really well. And the reason we play the 3 dig in here is because we have things, you're untapping all your lands here. So say you go to your end step, you can untap, float 4 or 5 mana or so, then untap again, delve, and you have like a really cheap dig through time in that case where you still have more counter spells, more removal, all that kind of thing. 2 drop slot here, 3 Censor, 4 Abrupt Decay, 4 Growth Spiral, nothing too crazy. The deck is a blast to play though. Sideboard wise here, 2 Aether Gust because there's a lot of red-green things running around in general. 2 Negate, 2 Mystical Dispute for all the counter magic stuff we might do, some Bant Spirits, anything with blue cards in them. 2 of Summary Dismissal. I know on Twitter a few people have asked me about this one. This is for the Mono Green Eldrazi matchup, or anything playing things like World Breaker or Ulamog or Emrakul, things like that. Because with that, you get to exile all spells and other counter all abilities, meaning that the cast trigger they have doesn't go on the stack, and then you still get to counter the ability. 3 Ritual Soot, aggro decks, Scavenging Ooze, more graveyard hate. Even though Scarab God does a pretty good job against it, you still want a little bit more. Same with Tormod's Crypt. I put 1 Tormod's Crypt in here, and then 1 Pithing Needle. This list was made by Aspiring Spike, so Aspiring Spike, if anyone hasn't checked him out, check his channel out because it is amazing. One of the best content creators for Pioneer out there, I think. But without further ado, I'm gonna quit yabbering now. Let's take this into a league. Let's try to do well with it. We'll see if we can't get a little 3-2, maybe 4-1, maybe 5-0. I don't know. Let's try it out though. Let's go. Alright, y'all. First game of the day here. We have found our opponent. Sultai Reclamation. Take it in here. Let's see how it goes. We'll start off on the draw. Story of my life here. Opening hand here, we got 3 lands, a Growth Spiral, Reclamation, Frilled Mystic. This is a beauty of a hand here. So opponent plays a mountain, we pass the turn, play Watery Grave tapped. We've already got our 4 lands here, so we're good there. Opponent plays red, and then play a Carry Ziff. So we're playing a little bit of Chonky Red. Chonky McChonkerson over here. It's our turn now. We'll play this Woodland Cemetery. This way we have Growth Spiral held up while still representing Abrupt Decay if we needed to as well. So turn 3 here. Hoping they don't. They didn't play a Rabble Master, so already we're kind of winning in that regard. Curious of what they have here because they don't play their Mutavault. If they don't play Rabble Master or Mutavault here, usually that means they're holding up Stomp. Let's see what they got here. So they just go with Bone Crusher Giant. They don't even worry about stomping us. They just Bone Crusher Giant in the face. So we'll go here. We'll Growth Spiral. Throw Breeding Pool into tap. They've had a pretty decent start, but we'll see if we can't stabilize from here now that we have the the way is clear to put Wilderness Reclamation into play and hold up Frilled Mystics. So we make sure we got the double green and double blue here. Play Reclamation, pass the turn. One thing when you play this deck, make sure you're always putting stops on your own end step as well, so that way you still have the time to do things. Sometimes with MTGO, it's pretty easy to skip through those. So they play a 4th land. They don't Torburn us, so that's good. Still curious what they have here. They didn't activate Mutavault. They're kind of playing a little bit passive, it seems, so I'm curious what they got. Nothing we can do here too much. They swing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they'll have us down to 10. Not looking good for us. Really hoping they do something here, so we can use our mana with this Frilled Mystic, and luckily they do. They have Ember Cleave, so they believe in the cleave, but we don't believe in it this game. So after some sad tapping on my part here, we decide flash in Frilled Mystic. It was good of them to wait the blocks to do this. If they'd done it in attacks, I would have also blocked the Bonecrusher Giant. So they Wild Slash. Not that I really care about that. Frilled Mystic's not a super great blocker here. We care more about countering Ember Cleave. So they got us down to 10, but they are at 1 card in hand now. So here we get a Nightpack Ambusher off the top, which is really good. And this is one of the beautiful things about this deck when you have Reclamation out. I can play this Nightpack Ambusher main phase. We'll go to second main here, play our other land, and then we can still untap. This way we still have Frilled Mystic held up, and we're pretty good to go there. So if opponent attacks with the Bonecrusher Giant, I'm not going to block it because we can be a little bit more patient for the time being. Here they decide a Glorybringer, which is a smart move on their part. I mean, if you got Glorybringer, you probably need to smash it, but that's also just a super easy counter for us. So counter the Glorybringer here. Get another Frilled Mystic down. This now, we still have a really good trade now. If they want to attack with Bonecrusher Giant, we could trade the Frilled Mystic. I know if I'm on the other side of the battlefield, I am not offering that trade at all, though. However, opponent is a pretty greedy person. Not greedy, we'll say they aggressive. So we'll happily take that trade all day. And now we have Sabotage and Dig Through Time in hand. We've got some gas to do some really good things here. Overgrown Tomb for the draw. You see me doing my math here for Dig Through Time, seeing if I'm able to play Dig on this turn and then still hold up Sabotage. So I decided not to go to attacks yet. Still want to be a little bit defensive for the time being. So now, you stack these triggers here. Always select the Wilderness Reclamation first. That way the Nightpack Ambusher token will trigger. So this way you can get your token there, and now you can start floating that mana and do other stuff. So we floated all the manas here. It's possible with Dig Through Time you want to leave some of your Frilled Mystics in, but we don't even have a Scarab God in hand right now for that, so it's really just be the most mana efficient we can here. So we're looking, we got some pretty good hits off of this. I'm deciding what to take. We could take a Nightpack Ambusher and Scarab God is what I'm thinking, but also just 2 Brazen Borrowers could be enough of a tempo play to beat them. So as we're choosing this though, I think they see the writing on the wall and they concede. So 2 Aether Gusts coming in here, just bouncing any spell they do is a pretty big deal and a good tempo swing for us. Looking at Ritual Soot, Ritual hits quite a few things, doesn't hit Torbrand, doesn't hit Glorybringer though. See me looking Scavenging Ooze here. And then we bring the Rituals in. Let's see here. And this is one of those things where I need to get a sideboard guide, sideboard a little bit quicker. So we get all these in for now because they're cards I think I could use. And let's start taking things out and see what we don't want anymore. So we throw 1 Dig Through Time away. Dig is great, but a lot of times it is an expensive spell. When you're having pressure put on you like that deck can apply, then you don't want to be playing slower things like that. On the draw, Frilled Mystic is usually not where you want to be either. I know you have the potential to do that on turn 3 and it's great, but a lot of times you want to just lower that mana curve. So I get there, but then I decide maybe Ritual's not going to hit everything, so maybe it's a card we don't want. And I bring in the Censor. Honestly, not sure if that's correct at all, but that's how we went with it. So game 2 here, opener. Growth Spiral makes his hand very keepable. We also have a Censor here on 2 if we need to. And Petty Thefts. Like, we really have an abundance of things to do here. We just need to draw some lands. So we wait on Inglaze, see what they're going to do. They start off with a mountain, and no Skullstar Mage. There's a split between these decks I've noticed. Some play Skullstar Mage, and some play, well, I think some try to play Bone Mat Courier, but I think that's just wrong. And then some play the 1 mana Haste Goblin. We don't play those. So we put in Breeding Pool tap, start the turn here. Next turn, we can hold up Censor or Growth Spiral. Usually you always want to Growth Spiral on 2, but if they have something like a Rabble Master, then you obviously want to Censor that. So turn 2, and they still have no play here. That is just really huge for this deck. Feels real good. So here, we'll ship the turn over, representing Censor, Petty Theft, and Growth Spiral. We are short 1 green mana here for Nightpack Ambusher currently. But green is one of the more common colors we play here. It's mostly a blue-green deck splashing black. So they got the Rebel Master here. We will absolutely Censor that. We could try to be annoying and tempo him out a little bit by letting it resolve and then Petty Thefting it, but then I couldn't Censor it the next turn. So this resolves here. This happens. We draw a Scavenging Ooze for the turn. Since I've only got the 1 green store, it's not really worth playing it yet. When we got Sinister Sabotage here, so we might as well just hold up the counter magic. We also have the ability to grow Spiral, put Castle Vantress into play, and then Petty Theft something. So they activate Mutavault and go to attack, meaning they probably don't have much else in hand right now to do, or they're missing lands. So here, I think I honestly forgot about the clause about non-land permanents at the time with Petty Theft, because I was playing on a turn if I played nothing else to bounce that Mutavault back to hand. So we start out here, just the best thing we can do anyway, is go ahead and play Growth Spiral, put a land into play, Castle Vantress. We get an early green source here, which is pretty good. We could play this and hold a Nightpack Ambusher or Sabotage, but I mean, we got the Scarab God, baby. When you got the Scarab God, you're just in business. So we shock that in, go to 16. We're thinking about it, but spoiler alert, we play Scarab God. Scarab God coming down. Don't think they have many answers for this, especially at instant speed with 2 red mana open. So they still got 6 cards in hand. They got a lot of stuff. I'm just curious of what. So they play Rose here to kill it. However, it just comes back to our hand at the beginning of the end step, which is good. So Scarab God's in the bin for now. Let's see if they do anything else here. Kind of hoping they just activate Mutavault and swing for 2 again, because that's not a really big quack. And that's what they do here. Activate Mutavault, play another land. They can get their 2 damage beats on, but we're not too worried about that right now. Curious what their hand represented there, though. We draw a Drowned Catacomb for the end of the turn, and for here, it's more mana efficient actually for me to go holding up Nightpack Ambusher and Petty Theft, or I could play Scavenging Ooze and then still hold up the Nightpack Ambusher if I had the mana. Instead, let's just play Scarab God again. The card's good. They can't really beat the card, I don't think. And then from here, they have a Rabble Master in the graveyard that we can take. A 4/4 Rabble Master they're still making goblins every turn. Pretty good. So we pass the turn over back to them. See what they have to be able to take care of the Scarab God. And they have nothing. So we go to game 2 here. We have won the die roll, so we'll be on the play this game. Opener, 3 lands, Abrupt Decay, Sinister Sabotage, Reclamation and the Ambusher. That hand's gas, so we will keep it. So they play a Swamp and start off with a little Thoughtseize. So I'm thinking maybe this is mono black aggro. I'm not really sure. They take their Wilderness Reclamation, which is a bit of a bummer because that's a card we want to have. Draw an island for a turn, so we play the Hinterland Harbor. Common knowledge here, but always try to play the lands that are revealed if you can, just so you're not showing them over your hand. So they go Temple of Malice here, so they're Rakdos, it looks like. There have been some Rakdos Midrange or Rakdos aggro lists floating around, so maybe this is that. We draw Overgrown Tomb for the turn. Part of me would want to just play that tapped and hold up Abrupt Decay. However, we're not sure what they're playing, and figure just to be on the safe side, let's hold up Sabotage instead. They do know about it, so they can play around it, but if they're playing around that, we're kind of just winning anyways. So now, go to turn 4 here. We got the Abrupt Decay held up. We got Petty Theft and Abrupt Decay. We also have Sabotage. We got everything in the book, essentially, that we can play here. So opponent taps 4 mana, plays Kalitas. I'm curious about this one because they know we have the Sabotage in hand, and I feel like you don't ever want to get your Kalitas countered. So we're just going to be patient here. We have Petty Theft to bounce it anyway, so we just play the Nightpack Ambusher instead. So we start off here. They're tapped out, so we can safely go to combat. So I can go and swing 4 here. Obviously if they want to trade that, that's wonderful for us, but they don't. So instead, we'll shock that in. This way we can hold up Petty Theft and Sinister Sabotage. Make a wolf, and then still if they don't have anything else to do here, we think about doing something. Doesn't really make sense to Petty Theft it now though, because then they can just play it again next turn. I would rather kind of time walk them a little bit, make them try to attack first, and then do something. So still in their first main phase here, they're tapping. 5 mana, what could it be? Goblin Dark Dwellers, one of my old standard friends. Great card, but not something we're going to let resolve. So we don't want to get Thoughtseize again anyways. So we will counter that. Faux show, and we get a Dig Through Time off the top. Not too shabby. Don't have a ton of mana to play with it yet. So we're thinking. But in the long haul, it's probably good to keep Dig Through Time. So we end up keeping that on top. So now, he can at least go to combat, or so he thinks. He doesn't, though. I guess the clock, I mean, we are swinging 7 at that point. So we go ahead, bounce Cleus, pass the turn. So now we're in a really good spot again. We can go ahead, attack with all creatures, get them down to 7. We're close to dig through time here. We have 5 mana, 6, 7 in the yard. So we're not quite there for being able to cast dig through time just yet. But we have 7 damage, 10 damage on board, and then a Brazen Borrower. So they concede. We go to the next game. I decide I can't really sideboard anything against this deck. Like, I just don't have a good board for it, so we'll keep what we got. This hand is actually a little tempting because we do have, it's only 1 land, but we have a Censor, and we can cycle that for more land. Decide to mulligan here. This hand's a little bit better, so not a great hand, but we'll take it. We get 4 lands here, so we're deciding what to do. We figure with a Growth Spiral, I'm not going to play anything on turn 1, so we bottom the island. They play a Temple of Malice, pass the turn. We get another Growth Spiral, which isn't a bad draw. That just draws us into more cards, and if we get more lands, we're still ramping. So turn 2 here for the opponent. They play a Dragon Skull Summit tapped, and a Thoughtseize. So while that's a little bit scary, it is notable they played a Dragon Skull Summit there instead of any kind of land like a Blood Crypt. So their mana might possibly be a little bit weird this game. With Thoughtseize, I'm assuming they're going to take a Dig Through Time. So we have 2 Growth Spirals. It doesn't do much to take 1. So they take a Dig Through Time. Not terrible, but also like we're not close to casting that anyways. And we draw a Torrential Gearhulk off the top, which makes that look kind of good for us because we can always just flash it back with Gearhulk. So we shift the turn here. We're holding up Abrupt Decay, holding up Growth Spiral. They play a Castle Lockbane tapped, 2 mana for a Collective Brutality. Now, so they're going to make us discard a card. I do make a mistake here with Growth Spiral. I should have just waited. They're probably going to take one of the Growth Spirals anyway. Luckily, I just drew a Hinterland Harbor, so they can take whatever they want now. But it is possible I would have drew into something really, really good there, and they could have made us discard something I didn't want to. So the sequence on that was a little bit off. I should have been a little bit more patient if they Growth Spiral. Luckily, it didn't burn us that time. So we got 4 lands here now. We're hoping to find some good 4-mana card off the top here. Unfortunately, just a Breeding Pool. We'll still pass the turn over. We have this Growth Spiral. We'll throw that Breeding Pool and play tapped anyways. Not a huge deal. So opponent will play a Bonecrusher Giant, and that's it. They missed a land, and so that even though we're the ones on the draw here, we're going to be a little bit more ahead of them on lands, which is really good. So play Growth Spiral, Breeding Pool into play tap because we don't have the mana for Nightpack Ambusher yet, and now this way we don't draw our 6 lands, so we can still just play Nightpack Ambusher happily when we need to. So we'll pass the turn over. From here, it's a little bit scary because they probably got Murderous Rider, Noxious Grasp, or something to take care of this Nightpack Ambusher. Still, we just let them hit us for 4 now. Like I value my Nightpack Ambusher much more than I value their Bonecrusher Giant. It's possible that I didn't want to play this Nightpack Ambusher, but I decided if we draw a land, we're going to be flashed in Gearhulk anyways. So we play the Ambusher, hoping to not see any removal here. However, you see that mana tap, and that's a Noxious Grasp. Ambusher down. So next turn here, no land, but we have the Scarab God, and spoiler alert, it's a pretty good card. Not a lot of good clean answers to Scarab God here. They are in black, so there's a possibility they could be playing Vraska's Contempt, but I've not seen too many Vraska's Contempt running around in Pioneer in a while now. So now they can't really afford to play attack with Bonecrusher Giant. If they do attack, I probably don't block it anyway, because I don't want to give them a chance of being able to, attack with that, trade it, and then stomp it. That is kind of a 2-for-1 valuing us, but I just care about Scarab God too much to do that. I can bring back my Nightpack Ambusher, start making tokens, and just be in a really, really good shape here. So on our upkeep, we have the ability to scry if we need to. We decide not to. Sabotage, not a bad draw at all. So I can go to attack there, but they have the ability to block with Bonecrusher Giant, activate Mutavault, and block there. And again, that's the 2-for-1 trade for us, but I'm just not interested in that. They decided to take 5 damage to draw with Castle Lockbane. Things are probably shifting in our favor if that's what's happened at this point. So they play a Bud Crypt. We're kind of hoping they'll try to, tap out for some big spell here. So we wait and see what they're trying to do. They end up shocking it in, so they got 5 mana open. I'm assuming it's another Goblin Dark Dweller at this point, but maybe those got sided out. Either way, they're down to 12. They're losing this race now. And they're thinking. So they go with Collective Brutality again. Tough decision here. I could counter that. However, I feel like if I just use the counter, then I can't activate Scarab God. So if I counter that and they have a removal for Scarab God and I don't get any value off of it, that's bad. So I feel like this way, at least if I want to remove it this time, I've got an activation off Scarab God. So no creatures in their bin. I'll take my Nightpack Ambusher, and now I can just start playing the instant game and still be making a bunch of wolves. They mess up here and try to fatal push it. An important thing about Scarab God is you're not making tokens, you're just bringing back your creature from the graveyards, and they happen to be zombies. So they tried to fatal push there, but it's still a 4 converted mana cost card. Alright, so 2-0 with the list here so far. Let's go ahead and go to game number 3. We'll be on the draw this game. Let's see if we can't go to 3-0. 3 for Dale, baby. Alright, so opening hand here is 6 lands and a Censor. I'm going to gamble a man sometimes, but I don't gamble like that. Well, mulligan here. This hand's a lot better. We have 3 lands, Wilderness Reclamation, and a Frilled Mystic. We got some things to do. We bought up the other Reclamation, which could hurt us if they thought sees us. But overall, I mean, I think this is the best thing we can do right here. We get a little Sinister Sabotage off the top. Not too shabby. We do need another blue source to play that. But if we can get one more blue source, we'll be in business. Spire Bluff Canal. So usually when you see Mutavault and Spire Bluff, it's either Scissors or some kind of, more aggressive, like the Emerge deck there that I was playing, Blue-Red Emerge. So they start off with Steel Overseer, so I think this is Scissors, but I'm not seeing a lot of things playing Steel Overseer here. So it's a little bit weird. Turn 2, we don't have any turn 2 plays, so I decided to play the Castle Vantress tap. That way we can guaranteed have Sinister Sabotage up next turn. So turn 3, let's see what they've got. The Royal Scion. So this seems to be like a little bit different version of the Ensoul artifact list that I've been going around. The deck kind of fell out of favor for a while and died off, so maybe this is what the new version of it looks like. Royal Scion seems like a good card in the deck, though. Like, even things like Steel Overseer there. The 1-power creature attack us for 3. Pretty good. So here, we'll pass the turn, holding up Sinister Sabotage. Unfortunately, Counter Magic isn't really great against this deck because so many things they counter, or they play are so small. Like right there, we could counter an Ornithopter, but like that just feels so bad. However, they are 2 cards, so like maybe we're supposed to do that just to be able to scry and see what we draw. So here they activate Mutavault. They still have 2 mana held up. This is where the deck's kind of nice. They can pump up the Mutavault with their Royal Scions and then be able to tap Steel Overseer to put counters on everything. So just a lot of really cool value and good plays here for them. Not making our deck look so great here so far. Seems like a pretty bad matchup for us. So they'll swing. Hit us for 13. Hoping they play something else here, but they don't. So pass the turn. So they have 2 mana up here. So they could have Izzet Charm. They also have Ornithopter, so possibly Metallic Rebuke. So we throw the Wilderness Reclamation down first. This way we can untap, and then still hold up a Frilled Mystic. Let's see what they got here. Not looking good for us so far, obviously, but we do have the ability to hopefully bounce back in this game one way or another. So they play another land. Still down to 2 cards in hand. They could start looting with Royal Scions also. Ensoul artifacts. So that one is a good target to be Frilled Mysticing. So we will Frilled Mystic here. Try to counter the Scissors. They got 1 more card in hand. See what it is. It's not a counter spell. So we will use that ability faux show. Counter that, and then see where they try to go from attacks from here. And again, this is where Royal Scion is good because all they have to do is pump up something like an Ornithopter. And yes, we are getting our butts beat by an Ornithopter in the air right now. Feels bad, man. Curious as to why they didn't put counters on it there since we were tapped out, but it is what it is. So this Royal Scion is about to ultimate, so we kind of got to dig through time now, or else we're just dead to it, and nobody wants to be dead to a Royal Scion trigger. So first I go, the Frilled Mystic is not a great blocker anyway, so I feel like they can either activate Mutavault and block here, or they can block with Steel Overseer. But I feel like one way or another we have to put pressure on it and try to kill it at the very least. So they activate Mutavault. They block. Now they can tap Still Overseer and still put counters on it if they wanted to, but I think they just kind of forgot about it. I don't really know. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. It still would have died in combat. So here we go to end step. Do little shenanigans. Start tapping the manas. 4 mana floating. They go ahead and put a counter on that, which is actually nice because I mean that's just one less counter spell with, like, you know, they didn't have the Metallic Rebuke mana there anyway, but it is what it is. So here I try to do everything I can to leave up 2 to 3 mana. This way we can have Petty Theft and Abrupt Decay. That's like our 2 just instant answers we have to their Royal Scions. So we dig through time. We have an Abrupt Decay and a Brazen Borrower off the top, which is pretty good for us. And here it's possible maybe I just take one of these and then, you know, try to get a bigger threat here too. Instead, we just know these are going to be some good cards. We bottom all the rest of them and then go ahead, just Abrupt Decay on that Royal Scion. We don't want that thing coming back. It's just too much value. Because even if we bounce it, they just play it again and then +2/+0 one of their creatures, and then we're just taking more damage once again. Still in the back foot of this game, still not looking too good for us, but we're trying to stabilize here. We do have a Torrential Gearhulk to flash back and dig through time, which would be really nice. So they play a land, still one more land here. No more Mutavault to worry about. However, they got 5 damage just swinging at us right here. So we're hoping we can untap. If we can untap, I think we got an okay shot to maybe turn this around. We have Gearhulk just providing a big body there. Dig through time to find us some answers. We see him tap 2. Really hoping it's not a Shrapnel Blast here, because Shrapnel Blast kind of sucks. And what do you know? It's Shrapnel Blast. So game 1, they get us. Our first loss with the whole deck here so far, so let's go to sideboard. Ritualists come in. Pretty much everything they play is 3 mana converted mana cost or less. We also put in Pithing Needle for the time being. Not too sure about it. Censor is awful against this deck because everything they play is so cheap. So we got 60 right there. This is what we want. We decide we'll take... So we took out 1 dig through time, we put it back in. So in the end, we just take out 3 Censors and put in 3 Rituals. So we'll take the play of this game. We got some Reclamation. We got 2 Petty Thefts and Brazen Borrowers here. Definitely happy with that hand. We'll take it. It doesn't have any, like, the really super flashy stuff we usually want to do here, but these are just solid answers to the deck that we'll take all day. So we'll start off here, play Breeding Pool tapped, pass the turn. Opponent starts off with a Spy Bluff Canal, hoping for no one turn 1 play. Words are hard. They play a Hope of Giraffer. Anyone who has a play against this card, it's 1/1 flyer. They can sack it, and if they deal a combat to us, oh my god, combat damage to us this turn, they can sack it. We can't cast non-creature spells until their next turn. So we'll pass the turn. 2 mana held up here. We have the Petty Theft ready to roll if needed. So they start off with the Mutavault. Play Ghostfire Blade. So here, just be smart with your mana here. Let them pay the equip cost to equip that first, and then Petty Theft. So that happens. Now we can Petty Theft what they were targeting, so it doesn't go on there. No Hope of Giraffer for them. No attack for them. Not too shabby. So they'll ship the turn over to us here someday. There they go. Off the top, we get another land, so we're definitely good on the mana now. We need to start drawing some threats, but we got all the mana we could ask for. Here, I've got another Petty Theft held up. I've also got Brazen Borrower if we want to go that route. Opponent plays a Spire of Industry. Okay. So they play the Hope of Giraffer down once again. Not a big deal. See if they got anything else. Maybe they activate Mutavault. Maybe they equip the Ghostfire Blade. So they equip Ghostfire Blade. Once again, not a huge deal. So here I've got a decision. I can either Petty Theft the Hope of Giraffer once again. Here I decided to be pretty mana efficient. Play my Brazen Bar. Get all three mana's worth of activations out of this. It resolves and we go to our turn. Another land. Woo, woo. So we'll throw our fourth land in there. Start tapping. Play Wilderness Reclamation. Unfortunately, when you see those artifacts tapping, you know it's Metallic Rebuke. So, counter that. We don't have the mana to pay for it. Boo, boo, boo. So now I have a decision. I can go to attacks here. Start trying to race them. Or I can just hold back as a blocker since the Hope of Gearhulk is flying. I'm totally happy to trade that off if they want to offer that trade up for us. So opponent's turn, they're tapping. They have another Royal Scions. Sucks to be us, huh? So all of a sudden that block we had before isn't looking too enticing now. Let's see if they try to get a first strike and trample or discard and draw a card. They give it first strike and trample, so now that Hope of Gearhulk, which is, formerly a 1/1, is now a 5/3 first strike and trample flyer. Yikes. So no need to just throw her Brazen Borrower away. We'll let that happen. It is what it is. One more mana for him, and they play a Stonecoil Serpent. Okay. That's a little bit annoying because it does have reach, so it can block our Brazen Borrower. Here we draw another Wilderness Reclamation off the top. Not a bad draw. Still not super gassy, but this will be able to help us for future draws if we get something good here. So Wilderness Reclamation thrown down. We'll throw in the Walking Ballista tapped because we got nothing else to do with it this turn. So I decide the Serpent you don't want to bounce that because they can just pay for it later and make it bigger. So I decided to start putting some pressure on the Royal Scions here to see if they want to trade the 1/1 Serpent. They probably do. And maybe this is a bad attack in my end, but knowing that I have the other Brazen Borrower here, I feel like it's worth it to go ahead and pressure them that way. So we'll get to untap y'all. While we're untapping, we can at least bounce the Hope of Gearhulk while they're tapped out. Ghostfire Blade falls off, and now we still have Brazen Borrower here ready to cast. We also just have we're representing a Sinister Sabotage if we had one. So they draw a card and discard here. Discard a Darksteel Citadel, so a little bit of land for them there. They're down to 4 cards. We got this Wilderness Reclamation, but we're just not doing a whole lot right now. So they fire up their Mutavault, and that's one of the beauties of this deck too. Maybe trying to play around the Sinister Sabotage. They decided to just equip the Ghostfire Blade and Mutavault. It'll fall off into turn. That's still 4 damage. That's a pretty reasonable clock they got on us here. So Brazen Borrower can't block that. No flying. So we go down to 11. And then they play the Hope of Gearhulk for the last mana. Go ahead and play Brazen Borrower here. We're going to need a pretty good draw to get out of this one because right now it is not looking good for us. So we go to next turn here. Always lucky. You've seen my videos. Always lucky. We get a Scarab God. So it feels nice to get a good top deck there. So we will throw the Scarab God down. No counter magic to worry about here. Feels just fantastic. And we battleship the turn, the phase over there on accident and really goof up. So Scarab God down here. Now we can do this and still grab a Stonecoil Serpent if we need to. We could also grab a Brazen Borrower and just have a flyer. So here we offer up the trade. The reason we offer up the trade here because then they wouldn't have anything to start attacking us with. And then if they don't block here, we at least got the Royal Scions down to 4, so it's not like getting us in lethal range anymore. So it's our end step. We'll float a blue there. Untap all the lands. Opponent. There we go. Untap all the lands. Tap some more. Pay foam. Get a Stonecoil Serpent. Comes in as a, 4/4. No counters on the board, but still, it's just a 4/4 trample reach and protection from multicolors. So that's pretty good for us being able to block all their things. And now, look at our board. We have 9, 10, 11, 12 power on board. We're starting to turn the tides here, all thanks to Scarab God, the man. So, unfortunately, a card we haven't seen in any of these other games, they play Phyrexian Revoker here. That means they can name Scarab God, turn off his activation ability, and just really punish us here. So now the Scarab God's pretty much just a base 5/5, which makes me really sad. So they take up a Scions, pump the Gearfur, throw the Ghostfire Blade on it once again. Now they got a 5/5 first strike trample flyer. We could chump block it with the Stonecoil Serpent, but that just doesn't feel good. So we'll just take it for now. Go down to 6. So it's gonna be kind of hard to get out of this one. We can't activate a Scarab God anymore like we'd want to. We do get to scry though, thanks to the Stonecoil Serpent. So waiting on opponent once again. So scry 1, we get a Frilled Mystic. Instead we don't want that. It's a little bit too late to be countering things. And instead we get a Nightpack Ambusher, which is much better for us. So now, due to that, knowing I can flash it in, I go ahead and decide to send both of my attackers here at the Royal Scions. Is that greedy? That's pretty damn greedy, and maybe it's too greedy. But I really wanted the thing gone. They're down to 3 cards. This way they can't pump up their stuff anymore to really get the beats in there too much. This still allows our, for the next turn, our Serpent to block their Hope of Gearfur. And maybe that's an aggressive attack, and I shouldn't have sent it that much, but we did. So it's our end step here. We decided to just hold the Nightpack Ambusher for now. We can't activate Scarab God anyway, so no point in playing it in our main phase here. So they got us down to 6, just really hoping to avoid a Shrapnel Blast. Like, no matter what we do here, a Shrapnel Blast probably just about gets us really dead. As it stands now, our Brazen Borrower is still trading with Hope of Gearfur. We have this Nightpack Ambusher to come in, block a Phyrexian Revoker. We play a Bowmat Courier. A little bit late to the party, but it'd be like that sometimes. So they play that, and then they decide to switch that over, which is really smart by them because a Brazen Borrower can't block the Bowmat Courier. Now they activate Mutavault, and that's a big attack they got going all of a sudden. That board looked kind of puny and wimpy. Is swinging 4 damage at us, and they're probably thinking they got lethal here. So Bowmat triggers, they'll get a card underneath it. So now I'm trying to decide what to do here. Looking at my blocks. In the end here, we throw the Nightpack Ambusher down. That was coming no matter what. We are able to block the Phyrexian Revoker, cleanly trade with that with Nightpack Ambusher, and still go down to 1 damage. So you'll see me think and just struggle here for a little bit. Just watch that. I think I edited some of that out though. But we'll block Phyrexian Revoker with Nightpack Ambusher, block the Hope of Gearfur with a Brazen Bar because it's the only thing it can block. This way we go down to 1. We live life on the edge, baby. They play Dive down here to give it +0/+3. I don't know if that was a misclick or not, because they would have done that to their Hope of Gearfur. It would have lived, but they do it to the Revoker instead. However, math is hard, it still dies. So now Scarab God is live, ready to rumble once again. Knowing that, on our upkeep, we just try to look and see what we want to do here. They're down to 1 card. We have 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage on board. So on their upkeep, activate Scarab God, and we get back their Phyrexian Revoker. So now it's our time. I decided to name Bowmat Courier. That way, if their hand's kind of garbage and empty, they can't pay to unload it and try to draw something else. They're kind of stuck with what they got. It's just a Bowmat Courier now. We scry. We have a Growth Spiral and a Torrential Gearhulk. Nothing in the graveyard for Torrential Gearhulk, but just another flash threat. It's not a bad thing to have. So we top that. Here, definitely can't be shocking in to be playing anything. Attacks here are curious, because we know they have the Mutavault and they have the Bowmat Courier and 1 more card in hand. Trying to decide how frisky I want to get here. So we go to attacks here. Looks like we're sending the Scarab God. Thinking about Nightpack Ambusher. Thinking about Stonecoil Serpent. In the end, we pull the Nightpack Ambusher back. We got enough blockers to hold about anything they want to do, I would want to think. So we just swing in here. This way we're kind of representing lethal next turn if they don't just have the Stone Cold Nuts. So we'll get them down to 11 here with Scarab God. Triggers, once again, always make your Wolf token first. So select the Wilderness Reclamation. Get your Wolf token. And then this way you can still be able to tap your mana. Say if I wanted to play Torrential Gearhulk, I could and wouldn't be punished for it. Instead, we can do this. If you look here, we can float 2, play 2 more, so that way we can still get another creature out of the bin, and then still have 4 mana left open to have another one come out. Scarab God, amazing, amazing card, so powerful. So here we'll just take our own, we're looking, we'll take their Hope of Girfer. Just another flying creature we can have on the battlefield, and something that's theirs to be able to throw away. Now all the creatures he's had that causes us pain gets to be in the roadblock for him. So now look at the difference in those boards all of a sudden. We are still down at 1 life. We're really just praying no shrapnel blast off the top. This past week I've been shrapnel blast more than I wanted to ever admit. So they decided to go to attacks here, get a little bit greedy with it. Maybe we misclick, maybe we don't, something doesn't happen. And it is also quite possible they just didn't realize that I had the Revoker naming that, so they thought maybe they could activate it and they couldn't. So they tap a red, and I'm pretty terrified here thinking it's the Shrapnel Blast, but I think they were actually just trying to activate their Bowmat Courier, and they couldn't. So it feels good there. Just to be extra, extra safe, laugh all you want, we're triple blocking this bad boy. Bowmat Courier, not getting through here, not a chance. So they can assign blocks all they want. It's dead. We got a big battlefield. They got 2 cards in hand. They don't have the burn off the top. We get game 2. Let's go to game 3. Sideboard wise in game 3, is there anything you want to change being on the draw? I add in 2 negates here, just to avoid any possible shrapnel blasts or things of that nature. We still will be able to counter the Royal Scions no matter what here. So Scions come in, or the negates come in, and we take out 2 Frilled Mystic again, just a little bit slow while being on the draw. So we take out 1 Frilled Mystic and 1 Dig Through Time. Also, just take out the slow cards. Opener here, this hand is sexy. We don't have a way to really accelerate this too much, but still, we just have Wilderness Reclamation and Scarab God with Abrupt Decay back up. Abrupt Decay is wonderful against that deck, because they don't really have ways to give things hexproof, and Abrupt Decay is killing just about everything in the deck. And there's a lot of times I've got to use Abrupt Decay as almost like a combat trick. Kill their Ghostfire Blade instead, and then just kill something you couldn't kill before. Because getting Ghostfire Blade out of the way is pretty relevant. So we got Breeding Pool tapped. Let's see what they do for their next turn. They stumble and hesitate here, and I'm wondering, maybe they just kept a 1-lander. They play Ginger Brute, okay, and they go to attacks. That's a really good sign for us. If they're stuck on 1 land with the hand that we've got, it's only a matter of time that we just kill them if they don't draw something fast. So they get they get 2 more damage in there, no big deal. But they're stuck at 1 land. Greedy, greedy, greedy. Meanwhile, us over here, we have a Growth Spiral off the top, which is actually probably the best draw we could have asked for. I could chuck in Overgrown Tomb and represent Abrupt Decay, but I think no matter what, just getting down Wilderness Reclamation next turn is going to be the goal. So we pass the turn over. Attack, take 2 more damage. Let's see what the follow-up is. Bowmat Courier, again, not afraid of that. They have 3 power on board now. In a turn, we'll Growth Spiral. Sinister Sabotage, also not a bad one to take off here. And now, they're tapped out. The board's clear. Hinterland Harbor, play Wilderness Reclamation, and this is just like the best case scenario for us here. We have Sinister Sabotage held up. We also have Abrupt Decay and Petty Theft at the same time. So just a really just a brutal way to punish them for keeping a greedy hand here. Bounce 2 of their 1-drops back after combat. They can only play 1. Pretty mean. So I'm assuming here they'll try to attack, get us down to 12 here. But I think opponent knows that Scarab God is what you have to really watch out for. So opponent moves to combat. Still no other land. They're still stuck at 1 land right now. They decided to just swing Bowmat Courier and represent the most obvious Metallic Rebuke they've ever seen in my life. I try to draw it out by bouncing it to hand. That way saying, hey, if you want to pay your 1 mana to ditch all your cards, you're welcome to. So that gets bounced. They end up passing the turn. And if I tap that a little bit smarter, I messed up there and shouldn't tap my Black Source. So that way I could have Abrupt Decay something. I know Abrupt Decay on a 1-drop seems bad, but it would have cleared the way for Scarab God. Just to be on the safe side here, decide let's just Abrupt Decay something now. Can't be countered anyway. So we can do this. Knock out old Bomat Courier. Trying to clear the way for Scarab God to come. It doesn't matter at this point. Like, we've got a Wilderness Reclamation untapping with 2 Scarab Gods in hand. They're stuck with 1 land and a Ginger Brute. So end step here, float 2 blue mana. Tap 1 more. Go ahead and play Brazen Borrower out just to be the most mana efficient. And we still have Sinister Sabotage ready to roll. I don't think opponent is long for this world much longer. So they play a Darksteel Citadel, finally hit that second land. Unfortunate, but you just don't keep 1-landers. I don't care how aggressive your deck is. I say that, and I do it all the time, though. But it'll punish you. So goes Fireblade. Don't even want to deal with that. Don't have time for that. We just decided to Sinister Sabotage here and counter it. From here, opponent knows what's up. We get to Surveil. Castle Vantress. We'll keep that on top. But they have to know that this game's just over. Like, they're not going to be doing anything else. So now that they don't have Metallic Rebuke held up anymore, I guess they figure they may as well attack, get the 1 point of damage in. So you go for it, friend. You go for it. Now with only one mana open, we're free to play Scarab God. So we'll start tapping. Tippity tap. How you like that? It's Scarab God. Let's go. And with the side of the Scarab God, they scoop 3-0 with Sultai Reclamation. Let's see if we can't steal another game with this deck. Let's get it. Alright, so 3-0 so far. Not a bad start with the deck whatsoever. We'll take it all day. Guess what? We're on the draw again. 3 out of 4 games on the draw. But hey, so far so good. Can't argue with the results. Opener here is a weird one. We have 3 Brazen Borrower and a Nightpack Ambusher. But drawing that Reclamation makes me very, very excited. That means, you know, just 1 more green source for the Nightpack Ambusher. We can do some things. So mono green here. So it looks like mono green Devotion. They're starting off with a Burning Tree Emissary. Okay, well that's a little scary. 2 mana. I hope they don't punish us here. They play a Nykthos. Still leave Champion. So they have about the most buffs to start you can probably have in Pioneer. We have here a little Watery Grave tapped here. They have Elvish Mystic, Burning Tree Emissary, Still leave Champion. We can try to just tempo them out here, but it's gonna be hard to beat that kind of start. That's insane. So we'll play Hinterland Harbor here, holding up Petty Theft. And for now, we're just kind of hoping they don't do much of anything, because we're kind of in a lot of trouble. So they bring the whole team in here, unsurprisingly. Let's go ahead and Petty Theft on the Still leave Champion. They can play it again. We know they can play it again, but at least that saves us 5 damage for now. 3 damage is a lot better than 8. Still leave back to hand. We take 3. Guess who's coming back to town, boys and girls. Luckily for them, they still have enough devotion to be able to activate Nykthos and get that 3 points of green there. So we draw to the land here. There's not a green source. It's looking a little bit sketchy for the Nightpack Ambusher now. Play a Watergrave tapped. Again, just holding up another Petty Theft. We're not going to be playing Brazen Borrower. It does nothing in the situation. So opponent goes to combat again. And we'll Petty Theft again. So nice, we had to do it twice. It's the same deal as before. We take 3. Second main, it's the boy. Still leave Champion. That actually may be a woman running that, so who knows. Still no green source. Really sucks. No need to get super fancy here. We'll just play Wilderness Reclamation. And at least this way we can still hold up Growth Spiral and Brazen Borrower. So things could be worse than the Paris household over here, over Titans Fan 920, you know, all that kind of stuff. They play a Llanowar Elf. Not afraid of that. It is adding through the Devotion to green, which is a little scary. They got 2 cards and they go to attacks here. Excuse me. Oh gosh, excuse me again. Oh, excuse me, man. Oh, the struggle is real, folks. So they go to attacks here. We got another Petty Theft. They tap 1 mana. What do they got? I remember this. So this is a chump play by me. This is just not smart on my end. They play Aspect of Hydra on the Llanowar Elf. I still should have blasted up the Steelleaf Champion, bounced that, because that would have taken away 3 power from that anyways. Instead, I bounced the Llanowar Elves, let that result. It's just not a good play by me. Still, if we draw a green source here, we're not in that bad shape at all. We can play a Nightpack Ambusher, but no other green source for us here. We go ahead and concede. Rough. Let's go to game 2. So game 2 against this deck, Aether Gust, Faux Show coming in there. Also want some Ritual Soot. All we saw there was just nothing but 3 or less converted mana cost creatures, so that comes in. As far as what we're taking out here, 1 dig, maybe 2. We take out 2. We're on the play, and then we'll just take out the Censors. They make so much mana, the Censors is really bad here. So, opener here, this hand is amazing. We have Abrupt Decay, Sinister Sabotage, Ritual Soot. I mean, just all the things we can ask for. Still just 1 green source. That's the only thing we're missing so far. Starting off with the Lovestruck Beast is not nearly as scary as the Land of Worlds for this deck, though. I know we have the Ritual Soot. We're not all that terrified. Here, I can't imagine anything on turn 2 that I want to kill with Abrupt Decay. So we just put Labyrinth Falls in there. That way we can have Sinister Sabotage held up and ready to roll. They pass the turn here. Play a Grove Chamber Guardian. So I said there was nothing on turn 2 that I want to kill right away. Unfortunately, anybody who's played against Grove Chamber Guardian, you know how annoying this creature can be. So I'm deciding if I want to leave up Counter Magic here or kill the Grove Chamber. The benefit here to playing to killing Grove Chamber now is it kind of just makes them think that they can play their Lovestruck Beast out and not be punished. We have that Ritual sit there ready to roll if they do that. So ship the turn over here, hoping to see a little Lovestruck Beast, but instead they play Ronus the Indomitable, which is terrifying for us because we cannot kill that thing as it stands. So they'll swing in for 1 here. The good news is they don't have a way to make an attack yet, so good for us. Off the top, get another land or get a Ghost Spiral here. Decide go ahead and play Wilderness Reclamation. Just get that down while it's hot. Untap here. We don't want a Ritual Soot just to kill a 1/1. Not exactly good trade value for us there. So they play Nykthos, and now we're in a kind of awkward spot because if they play Lovestruck Beast, then it makes their Ronus active. Instead, they just try to play Sirach, which would have been a great card for them because they could give it haste, and they'd be swinging in for 11. But we say no to that. Sinister Sabotage, counter that thing. Bottom of Drowned Catacombs, and now they're still just swinging for 1 right now. So while Ronus is good, if you can keep the battlefield clear, it's just a pretty little picture there. Frilled Mystic off the top, not too shabby whatsoever. Still don't want a Ritual Soot yet, so I decide we'll just Growth Spiral here. Draw us a card. No land, but it is what it is. Here, we'll go to end step. We'll just untap, holding up Frilled Mystic, Sabotage. We got things, people. We got things. A land off the top makes Scarab God active, which is really good for us. So they tap. They just try to play Lovestruck Beast this time. Could let it resolve, but again, that activates Ronus. And at this point, I'm kind of just wanting to get things in the graveyard. So if I draw a card with draw a land with Scarab God, I can just start going to town there. So we'll counter the Lovestruck Beast since they don't have anything else to do here, it looks like. This way we can get a creature of our own on the battlefield. Let's go. They'll follow that up with Land of War Elves. Not afraid of that either. So I draw another Ritual here. Figure since I don't have another land and nothing else to do here, may as well Ritual Sit now. Kill the Land of War Elf. Kill the human token. Get them off of Galta if they happen to have Galta. So now we can just freely swing in with this 3/2 since the Ronus can't attack or block. So 17 all, but we have the high ground. Opponent taps, they play a Yorvo. Yorvo is absolutely going in the graveyard and will absolutely be a fantastic Scarab God target if we get to play it. And what do you know? We have land on the top there, so we'll take that all day. Overgrown Tomb. Shocked, put that in there. Faux show. Let's play us a little Scarab God. No more counter spells for us here, but that's okay. We still attack here. Get them down to 14. So now we untap. We have a Scarab God trigger ready to roll in a turn. Silly champion, nothing we can do about that. So with that 5 power, that will make Ronus live now, so it can attack if it wants to. And they do. They're ready to start racing, baby. Boogity, 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 boys. Well, we have nothing to take care of that damage-wise because it's indestructible, so I decided, let's go to the graveyard. I could get a Sirach, I could get a Diorvo, and there's benefits to both of them here. And it doesn't really matter. I think technically I should have got the Diorvo here first, because then the next turn I could have got the Sirach and gave it haste. But we make mistakes sometimes on this channel. We're not perfect. So on their upkeep, definitely just take the Yorvo, which is an 8/8 now because it comes in the 4 counters. We get the Scry 2. We'll put Breeding Pool on bottom, Aether Gust on top, because that's a good card. And now I'm looking, we can do the math all we want. Math doesn't matter because they are dead no matter what they do. So we give Yorvo haste here. And it's so fun using their opponent's cards against them. So we do a little math here. I'm like, wait, that's lethal. You are dead, my friend. Doesn't matter how they block here. They dead. So good game for us there. We go to game 3. On the draw, looks like we're taking out 2 Mystics. And I know we said Censor is bad against this deck, and it is. Don't get me wrong. Maybe this is wrong. But we take out the other deck through time, put 1 Frilled Mystic in there. With the Censor, we can still hope to counter things on their turn 3 there, which could be pretty gnarly for us. So turn 1 and no play from them. That is fantastic for us. We'll play it Overgrown Tomb tapped and pass the turn. And luckily, we do have the Censor here now. The good thing about Censor is even the matchups where it's bad, it still can just be a cycle card for 1 redraw card. So it's not actually dead in a lot of the spots. But this hand we have is just wonderful. We have Censor, Abrupt Decay, Growth Spiral. A lot of ways. We have the 2 green sources already. So here, we're trying to see what to do. They played a Burning Tree beforehand and nothing to do, and still, they're just not doing anything. Life is good for us right now. So if we see we need to cycle anything here now, or Censor anything now, or just Growth Spiral. Silly Champion. So this is where the patience of the deck pays off. I could have censored that, but we have Abrupt Decay to deal with that. I care a lot more about getting this Nightpack Ambusher down. So we do that, pass the turn over. Looking around, doesn't really matter which land we play. I've got Nightpack Ambusher held up. I could also Abrupt Decay or Petty Theft. We got options, friends. We got options. So pass the turn. They can swing for 7 here. And it's possible maybe I'm just supposed to put the Nightpack Ambusher down and just eat up that Burning Tree Emissary. But then the Aspect of Hydra just eats us alive there, and that feels pretty awful. So after that, they decide just play Steel Leaf Champion. They play around Censor really nicely. So, alright, that resolves. Still 1 mana held up, so they can still have an Aspect of Hydra. They can still have a Blossoming Defense. I think that's about the only one mana instant green spells they can have. So Nightpack Ambusher coming to town. So we'll pass the turn. No attacks here. We definitely can't afford to attack with the Ambusher yet. We don't want to trade it off with the Steel Leaf Champ. So we'll make a wolf here. Pass the turn over. We have 2 removal spells in hand, ready to go. So opponent goes to combat. Let's see if they have shipping with everything or just the Steel Leafs. So they just send the Steel Leafs in. Fine for us. So we'll start off here. Little Abrupt Decay on the Steel Leaf. And it had to be expected they had something for the 1 mana last turn. So they Blossoming Defense here. I decide I really want the thing dead though. So we're going to try again. I think it was Beyonce or TLC that said you gotta dust yourself off and try again. Try again. Ooh. Don't copyright strike me. So the second Abrupt Decay gets it dead. They're down to 2 cards. Not sure if I want to take this or not. I could have went down to 6, but again, I'm just really scared of Aspect of Hydra and things like that blowing us out. So we decided to just let it eat the wolf for now. Pass the turn. They follow up with the Llanowar Elf. They have 1 card in hand. Things are looking okay for us. We end up cycle and Censor here, draw a land, pass the turn. So here, We can play Watergrave tapped. Still not really a good attack for us yet. I'm thinking about it though. I'm deciding, no, that ain't worth it yet, fam. So we make another wolf here. Pass the turn. Like they kind of got the gas on us a little bit here, but between Brazen Borrower and Growth Spiral, hopefully we can draw into something real nice here. Turn this around. Because the only thing applying pressure is just a Still Leaf Champion, so I can just keep throwing wolves at it until I find a good answer. Decided for now, we'll go ahead and just do that. Because what I'm hoping to do is end a turn, be able to petty theft it when they can't play it anymore. So end a turn. We try a little petty theft. See if they have a way to stop it. If they don't, we're in a great spot though. So petty theft resolves. Still in a turn. Go ahead. Let's just throw Brazen Borrower back in there. And what do you know? It's our best friend. It is the Scarab God. So we go to attacks now. They have 3 power on board. Maybe could have attacked the Nightpack Ambusher, and it's possible I wanted to. But Sirach off the top would be just enough to be able to activate his Ferocious and give it haste. So we don't want to do that. Instead, let's just play El Scarab God. Dude's pretty good. This way we can play him, still have Growth Spiral held up. And unless they've got a really good answer for him, I think the Scarab God can just start running away with the game. So they play the Castle Vantress. They have potential to do a whole bunch of things here. They play the Still Leaf Champion. I think they're just kind of out of gas at this point. Like, they're just trying to keep up with us now. And it feels good being on this side against Mono Green because they can just run you over real fast. In turn, we go Spiral. Hoping to draw into something hot. Ritual Soot is pretty hot. So, as you see, we have the Brazen Bar that will die from this. Otherwise, not a big deal. I don't scry with Scarab God because we want to be able to do everything with our mana here. So I missed out on 3 points of damage. I guess I should have attacked here with Brazen Bar, but we go ahead. We just Ritual with Soot here. They concede 4-0. One more game. Let's see if we can't get that 5-0. So the opener here, it's a little ugly, but we got some Growth Spirals. We have things to draw into. We have the Wilderness Reclamation. The thing that sucks the most about this is these all come in tap. These are all check lands. So even though we get to be on the play for only the second time in this league, don't really get to take advantage of it with the super fast start here. Opponent plays Botanical Sanctum. What could it be? Land of War Elves. Who would have guessed, right? So still not quite sure what we're playing against. Sinister Sabotage, really hoping to find us an untapped land so we can hold up a Sabotage here. This really sucks. We don't have that. Like we should be Growth Spiraling right now due to our mana, and you know that's our fault. We kept the hand. That's our fault. It happens. And I will say, going back and looking at this game when I was editing, there's a few spots where I probably could have played a little bit better, and it's possible I cost myself a 3-0 or a 5-0 in this league, which really breaks my heart because I've never done it before. But I'm still new to this Pioneer game. Still very new to MTGO. So I'm, to even be 4-0 at this point, I was pretty ecstatic, but I was nervous as hell. So they get into the beat, swing one. Here we get a Watergrave off the top, but let's see what we decide to do here. We end up shocking that in, which is actually smart because we have Sinister Sabotage held up this way. If we don't like what we see here, we can Growth Spiral, and then if we had a green source, we can Growth Spiral again. Double Growth Spiral doesn't seem too shabby. So Bant Spirits is what we're playing against here game 5. They're tapping really strange. They try to play an Empyrean Eagle. They're still holding up a blue and a green, so I'm not really sure what they're trying to do here. Empyrean Eagle, we can't let it resolve, though. That makes their clock just a little bit too fast for us with the Lord stuff going on. Sea of Forest on top. Don't need another land. We got plenty of those. Now we got that Watery Grave. Everything's coming in untapped anyways. So we're good there. So right here, those will be swinging for 2. Not a big deal. Frilled Mystic off the top with a Wilderness Reclamation. Pretty good. If we had the green mana for it. But as you see, once again, we're just missing out on the green mana, which is so strange because black's the least color we play. But maybe there's some improvements to the mana base that we can make here. So pass the turn back over. Would love to be holding up a Frilled Mystic right now. So they Supreme Phantom. So this is a mistake that cost me the game here. I let that resolve, and then for some reason decided to Growth Spiral. And unfortunately, the draw is a Sinister Sabotage, so we could have countered that Supreme Phantom. So they get to pump up their Mausoleum Wanderer here to 3 power, and it gets 2 power baseline anyways. So, I mean, this alone right here is 2 extra damage that we did not have to take. So they go to attack, swing 3 on us, and unfortunately we draw another Frilled Mystic. So that's our main phase here, so we can still afford to do this Growth Spiral. We get an Overgrown Tomb, so not the worst in the world. Unfortunately, it's probably just a little bit too slow now. But again, this is what I say, even though we're a little bit slow, like this, the setup of our hand allowed us to climb back into this game if I had countered that Supreme Phantom. Because, spoiler alert, we're going to lose this one. In a turn, they flash in Devilgas Herald. We're thinking about it, but we got to let it resolve, or we got to counter it. So you definitely don't want to be Frilled Mystic something on your own turn, but we're going to have to do it at some point anyways. They can just play around all of our counter spells from this point forward, so we need to get the value while we could. So they go to attack, swing 3. Again, this should be 1 damage. That's 2 extra damage. So we've taken 4 extra damage that we didn't need to take so far. So while we could be at 13, we are now at 9. And talk about Mega Punish here. We draw a Nightpack Ambusher. Just a card that would have been absolutely fantastic to have. So I could play this on my main phase here. However, I am afraid of them having some kind of way to counterspell this. So we're going to do something kind of tricky here. First, we're going to swing in with Frilled Mystic. If they want to double block, they're welcome to. That Frilled Mystic ain't blocking anything. We decided to not block, which is actually a mistake on my part. So end of turn here, a little sneaky little thing you can do here. Tap all your lands, get all that mana, then untap. This way, you can still play your Nightpack Ambusher, and if they try to counter it here, then I'd be able to use that excess mana, Sinister Sabotage, Frilled Mystic, and still hold my lands up there. So Nightpack Ambusher comes down, and we still have all this stuff held up if we need to. So that 4 points of damage I've let slip through here. They would just have a Mausoleum Wanderer to Land Werewolves. Feels very, very awful. So once again, Frilled Mystic coming down. Let's see if they got an answer for it. They don't. Supreme Phantom getting countered. So even here, it's still looking pretty good for us. It's unfortunately that clock in the air is getting a little bit too fast. All this damage been flying is like really good in Pioneer because there's not a lot of flyers in this format. So if you're able to start building a wide board there and start swinging in the air, there's not a lot people can do to stop you. So we'll bring that up to 7 damage we've taken now that we shouldn't have. 6 damage, I'm sorry. Play a land. Yeah, we decided to just go all out, start attacking with all the creatures here because we can't do anything anyway. I got to put some kind of pressure on them here. They double block my Frilled Mystic, which is A-okay with me. I should have done that earlier, honestly. That was kind of stupid on my part not to. So we'll get them down to 11. And even so with this, I mean, we got 10 power on board. Like, we're doing things. But we also have a 2-turn clock against us, and that's not good. So really smartly here, they decided to Rattle Chains now. So we got to counter it. We'll Surveil. Brazen Borrower is actually a pretty good draw for us. We'll keep that on top. That way we can bounce something back to hand and have that as a flying blocker. So, 3 power in the air. They got 2 creatures here. See how it goes. I mean, it's coming down to the wire here. Just really kicking myself for how I played that Growth Spiral in earlier and just didn't counter though. So once again, you'll see him swing. We will go down to 3. See what the follow-up is for him. No follow-up here, so we'll go to attacks, get them down to 4, make a wolf. here to start just tapping all the mana just in case they try to do anything sneaky. And I think this is a mistake on my end. I should not have petty thefted now. I should have just waited. But I figured this way, if they had any way to block it or get rid of it, then I could still cast the Brazen Borrower side of it. However, Rattle Chains comes in, gives that hexproof, fizzles the Brazen Borrower. So, game one, a few different ways here we could have played that better. Kind of threw that one away. So they get game one. Let's go to game two, try to recover. So game two here, we'll have our Mystical Disputes coming in. They don't actually play a lot of creature spells, so negates are bad. We'll bring in Ritual Soot that kills about every creature they have in the deck. And that's about it there. So we gotta take out 5 cards. Once again, maybe I'm just not doing this right by taking these dig through times out, but that's what it felt like I needed to do. Just holding really expensive card draws in hand when they have counter spells of their own just feels bad. So I did that. Go ahead and throw... You're just seeing the sideboard of a broken man here, is what you're seeing. So game two here. Opener, we got a couple counter spells. Scarab God. Don't love it, but don't hate it. It's got 4 lands. We'll keep it. We have some counter spells held up if we can just get an early start on them here. They mold a 6, which is good for us. So we'll start off, play a Watergrave tapped, and pass a turn. They will play a Breeding Pool, play it tapped, and also pass a turn. So that's a good sign for us. They don't have a turn 1 play. No Elf, no Mausoleum Wanderer. We'll take that. And a Brazen Borrower is actually a great draw, because now if they play anything, we just throw it back to hand, bounce it. And Supreme Phantom is definitely something that I want to bounce. So it resolves, and then it also gets bounced. So now we can play, we have Sinister Sabotage held up, we have Brazen Borrower to flash in if need be. We're feeling pretty good now. So they try to play Bygone Bishop. Not a great card, but in getting an Investigate and get a bunch of clues for them is pretty good. So I decided to counter that. Abrupt Decay definitely come in because just uncounterable removal spell for all their deck is pretty good. We've already got our 5 lands now, so we don't have to worry about anything about that for the Scarab God. So we're feeling okay here. Tap in Overgrown Tomb, pass turn over, still holding up another Sinister Sabotage. So they try to play another Bygone Bishop. Once again, counter it. Not going to let that happen. It's possible maybe I want to let that resolve and then just Abrupt Decay it. But we're all about some mana efficiency in these parts. I'd rather save the Abrupt Decay for if we needed to like swing through lethal at some point. It's turn 5. They're tapped out. They did not draw a land last turn, which is pretty notable. So we'll go ahead and just slam Scarab God down. And from there, we have Bygone Bishop. We're ready to start bringing back if we can. Instead, they'll petty theft us, but they're still just stuck on 3 lands. So they're kind of just getting time walked, or we're getting time walked here a little bit, but they're still at 3 lands, so it's fine. So we could do some other stuff here instead. Why not just throw Scarab God down once again? Play Watergrave tapped, and pass the turn. Opponent's going to have something pretty big to beat this now because we're going to start bringing back their Bygone Bishops with the Scarab God, which is pretty brutal. So they play an Empyrean Eagle, not a problem for us. Now we got the mana, we can Abrupt Decay that Empyrean Eagle and then take it with Scarab God. Not too shabby. So I was going to take something anyway. I feel like since that's the one I was going to take, we Abrupt Decay it first. Their shields are tapped anyways. And then we get Empyrean Eagle back. So now we have a 5/5 here. We have a 4/4 Spirit Lord on our side. And we're getting to scry away a land. We draw another one, but that's okay. So we go ahead, attack with Scarab God, get him down to 14, play land tapped, and pass the turn. I know in a lot of situations like this, you're kind of tempted to leave your land in your hand, so that way you kind of bluff having something. But I think with Scarab God, it's important to just play out all the lands you can, because that way you're getting closer to more activations from his ability. So game 3 here, let's see how it goes. Let's see if we can get that 5-0. Opener, not too shabby. 5 lands is a little bit heavy for the deck, but being able to have Mystical Dispute on 1 is pretty huge. Scarab God off the top is a very welcome sight, something we're going to need if we're going to win this game. Start off, I'm debating on whether just playing this tapped or passing the turn, but we're not holding back. Play Watergraved, untapped, and pass the turn. Now, one thing I noticed, I should have played the breeding pool. You see, the only other green source I have is they're all tap lands, but I had a Drowned Catacomb, so I should have played the breeding pool there and still been able to done that. We'll see if it makes a difference here. But now you see that I want to play Abrupt Decay, and I'm having to pay 2 more life for it. So again, just little things like that, but they do add up over time, and they can cost you a game. So Mausoleum Wonder resolves, and they are on 2 lands here, so I decided to hold the Abrupt Decay for now. I think this was also a mistake. I think maybe I should have just fired that off. But, you know, they have so many other creatures they can play that are much more stronger than a Mausoleum Wanderer that it's usually not a big deal. So, Overgrown Tomb coming in tapped, pass the turn. Abrupt Decay still held up. So they go to combat here, swing 1, and we'll see how the game goes. It really sucks for them to be missing land. I mean, we had every opportunity to win this one here, and I feel like I kind of just threw it away. So 4 mana here, representing a Frilled Mystic, representing a Nightpack Ambusher. Fortunately, none of those great cards in our hand. They do find a 3rd land, so they only missed a land for a couple turns there. They go to attacks. Anything else, and this is where I really should have tried to Abrupt Decay them there. They didn't have anything for us. I should have just slammed Abrupt Decay. If they wanted to save their Mausoleum Wonder, they would have to tap out for it. Instead, we just play Scarab God here. It's not a bad backup plan for us. So Scarab God coming to town. Hoping he doesn't get petty thefted. They get a Nebelgas Herald, so they can start tapping down all of our stuff here. So now the board's getting a little bit bigger. The clock is getting a little bit faster for us here. We're about to start closing out this game pretty quickly. So opponent's thinking, and you know, it's hard when you're in the moment. These games really think of all this stuff. Like there's a few different ways you can run these things. I think my thought process of holding on to the Abrupt Decay wasn't a terrible one because there are just so many more high value targets you want to kill here. But with the way they were struggling there, I think you just got to take them off of everything and just really put the throat pressure on them. So they go to combat here, swing, get us down to 11. We'll pass the turn. On our upkeep, go ahead, take their Supreme Phantom, have us a little Phantom Lord, because why not? It's a pretty good block for them to get any other spirits from their graveyard. They get pumped. Not bad. We can do this and still be able to play Abrupt Decay this next turn, which is nice. And the Nightpack Ambusher off top is a beautiful sight, so we'll keep that. So still on our turn, they decide to Nebelgas Herald again. That's fine. I mean, it's going to tap down our blockers, but it is what it is. We can't really respond to it because it's on our upkeep anyways. If we had a Mystical Dispute in hand, we would have really punished them, though. Just counter that for 1 mana and go about our day. So everything's getting tapped here. And with 2 Nebelgas Heralds, like, you're just never able to block, so that's kind of a priority to get rid of those. So now that it's our turn, go ahead. Can't do much of anything right here. Usually you want to do the Abrupt Decay right now just to get away from a counter spell, but it can't be countered anyway, so we pass the turn. They play a Botanical Sanctum, coming in tapped. Good for us. They still have 5 cards, though. And they're swinging pretty big on us. So, you hate to see it. Is what it is. They swing for 3 here now, because we're going to Abrupt Decay one of the Nebelgas Heralds. So they flash Petty Theft. So even though they could have bounced their own Supreme Phantom, they bounced their Scarab God just so we couldn't start activating it again, which isn't bad. That allowed it because we could have started taking their Nebelgas Herald, and that would have been bad. So here is probably like the turn of the game, which is pretty brutal. They have 1 mana up, and I have Ritualist to it. I'm able to wipe their board if I want to. But they have that Brazen Borrower in exile, so even if I wipe the board here, they can just get that back pretty soon anyway. So I feel like if I can get a Scarab God down now, and then be able to answer them later on, with a Ritualist to it, then you just like win the game on the spot there. So I go for the attack here, probably a little greedy, but again, with that Nebelgas Herald, anything they play is getting tapped down anyway, so it makes sense to attack there. This turn, decide to just play Scarab God down once again. Doubt they can have a counter for it for 1 blue mana. Unless they're playing Mystical Dispute against us too. Pass the turn over. We have 9 damage on board. We have some Scarab God triggers. Like, this is getting down to the wire here. Opponent swings in just for 3, so nothing too scary here. We go down to 5. They play a Hallow Fountain and go down to 11. So they're living dangerously with this Scarab God trigger now. So they have Scarab God here. I could activate it and take their Nebelgast Herald, but I kind of want to save that for their turn too, just to tap down an attacker. Censor is not what we want. So again, on our they're doing all this stuff on our upkeep and just really putting the pressure on us. I was super excited to see that because I really wanted that Brazen Borrower to come in and be Ritual Sooted. So, you know, at this moment, they got a bunch of 3-mana creatures or 3 or less creatures on the battlefield here. We're looking great. So go to attacks here, see if they want to block. They decided to block with the Brazen Borrower, kind of chump block, throw that away a little bit. But then they pull off here. They're only going to 1 if they do this, so yeah, they go to 1. And here's where I'm like, alright, this is game over here. We just Ritual Soot. Kill your board. GG. However, they boarded in Dovin's Veto. Dovin's Veto is okay against us, but we don't, I mean, most of our stuff, we have Scarab God, Torrential Gearhulk, you know, Frilled Mystic. A lot of their stuff is just not, is creature spells that happen to do things. So I don't feel like Dovin's Veto is even great against us there, but it definitely just punished us there. Even still, we got this 4 mana up. We have a Nebelgast Herald in the graveyard. We have options. We are not dead yet. So as it stands right now, we can, because it's not guaranteed they have another Spirit in hand anyway. They've only got 4 cards in hand. We bring back the Nebelgast Herald. Looking at what to target here, end up targeting the Brazen Borrower because it's the most guaranteed damage coming through. It's at least 3, whereas the other ones are 2 and 1. So we tap that down and have a blocker. So currently, even if they play another Spirit here, we're still not going to die. Unfortunately, Collected Company. Pretty brutal. Any 2 Spirits kills us here just because they can tap down our attacker. Mausoleum Wonder will get pumped twice. And then Nebelgast Herald will be the extra 2 damage there. But just to make it a little bit extra juicy, they find a Supreme Phantom, tap their, grow their team, and get a Mausoleum Wonder. So with that, we are dead. 4-1 in the league. The deck felt really good. As I've stated, there's multiple things in the third game that I probably could have done better. Maybe went 5-0 here. And in that first game, just really missed an opportunity there to beat them on what should have been a pretty easy win, I feel like. But deck felt great. Definitely going to take it to another league because I really enjoyed it. Once again, shout out to Aspiring Spike for making this deck list. It is a heck of a list, and I really enjoy it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a long one, but we got there. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Thanks for the support. Thank you.